I've got to go to Brisbane. Big news. I'm sure everybody's talking about it in Queensland. You are pole position 2032 Olympics. It's a new format. You can explain it for me, but you've been designated as the preferred host by the IOC, International Olympic Committee. You went to Switzerland last year, Gliso. Last year, might be the year before, with the then Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk. She was putting in the bid. You said it went down very well. Well, it looks like it did. When do you know when it's sort of in the bag?
July 22 is the date. It's 2 days before the Tokyo Olympics. There'll be an IOC executive session where they'll ratify the decision. So the next 8 to 10 weeks is important. They have to answer a memorandum of understanding from the IOC to ensure that they comply with every particular protocol that the IOC has put in place. But it is fantastic news. I mean, just when you think about what this means for Queensland as far as, speeding up infrastructure requirements like a second M1 between the Gold Coast and Brisbane, the four-laning of the Bruce Highway, and, of course, what there will be naysayers. Of course there will be, because we know in the past Rio and Athens basically sent their countries broke. But there is a new norm, as the Premier mentioned earlier today, and that is basically that it will be cost neutral. The Queensland government will be gifted $2.4 billion US to build the stadium, which will probably be at Albion Park, the old dog track there. And, of course, the NBC rights, TV rights, will be basically given to the Queensland government. So there's a lot to look forward to. It is a major coup for John Coates and Anastasia Palaszczuk. And you're right, I was in Lausanne, and I've got to say, Peter, the chemistry between Thomas Bach and Anastasia Palaszczuk was there to see, and I'm not surprised that we're just that close from being announced in July.
Well, we're all just lucky right around the country that Queensland is just so good at managing its money, that the budget's in such good shape that this won't cost the poor old taxpayer in Queensland a bean. And we know we're in good hands because Stephen Miles, I mean, he's been out there all day today. There's a $30 million debt the Queenslanders owe the New South Wales government because so many Queenslanders went through the Berejiklian government's hotel quarantine. Here is this joker, Stephen Miles, the Treasurer in Queensland, tearing up a bit of paper today. Let's have a look. All about the bill for hotel quarantine that he won't pay. And this is extraordinary. He thinks it's funny. He puts it up on his social media. He tells everybody else, Chris, in the state of Queensland, have some fun like me, print off this bill from New South Wales and tear it up and it makes you feel good. I think it's embarrassing.
Well, it's not only embarrassing, it's a poke in the eye to not just the New South Wales government, but to everyone in New South Wales, the population, who are prepared to take the risks to take the majority of quarantine cases. And the majority of every single state and territory, don't forget. And there was already a rule in this. The rule was that you will pay back New South Wales for the fact that they did most of the heavy carrying, and New South Wales did the heavy carrying. I just hope that maybe there's another way to go about it. And I noticed that Dominic Perrottet this afternoon on radio in Sydney decided to say, don't worry, we'll find a way of getting it off the Queenslanders. And I hope he means that, because at the end of the day, they took no risks. New South Wales took all the risk. And at the very least, he deserves to pay the bill that should have been attributed to Queenslanders.
And let's not forget too, Peter, let's not forget that Queensland hospitals are just for Queenslanders. Yes. And I think what it demonstrates is that during the next pandemic, it's got to be run by Canberra. This infighting between the states is unedifying, and that's an example. He's a goose. Fair income. Stephen Miles is a goose. That is disgraceful.
It is disgraceful, but this is why there must be, in the federal government, step up and do this, but there must be a Royal Commission, because there's plenty of things we have got right. There's a lot that we could do better next time we have a pandemic, and we will have a pandemic. It's a question of, when, not if. So where is the Royal Commission that absolutely goes through all the circumstances at a national level and a state level? It must be done. Josh Frydenberg, I appeal to you. I appeal to you again tonight. You've sorted out the Zuckerberg. Please sort out this mess.